right there is going to be good. I ain't done this good right here in a long time. I think it's something to do with the weather. And I did step outside there. I had some brush piled up in the fire pit out there, so I stepped out and lit that brush fire. And so I'm trying to keep an eye on it, to, you know, kind of sideways every now and then on my fire pit out there. So we got them there little. That's them little Julios or Halos or whatever they are. Them little bitty oranges. And I got them. I'm gonna get them over there, and I'm gonna dice them up there, and I'm gonna simmer these right here. I think some honey. We're gonna simmer them. Let's go to the stove. Right, it's Friday, about 9 o'clock. Right there's what we got to work with. And that skillet I got over there, I'll show you something. This that skillet, you know, it's got a crack in it. Skillet's cracked. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use it one more time. You know, we may weld that sometime. I think I'll weld that right there. But in the meantime, I'm going to make gravy. Orange gravy. Let's use this skillet right here. Oh yeah. We got that bread right there to work with too. I'm going to slice that. That's got that sesame seeds on it. That bread right there, it's got that slit in. I didn't bake that bread. That bread come from the big box store down there. 50 cents I paid for that bread right there. Marked down rack. I'm going to slice that up and toast it. I'm not going to put no butter on it. Just a plain toast. And we're going to serve this orange gravy on that she said, toast. She said, you going for that extra point, ain't ya? I said, yeah. And what I got right there, that's some bacon and sausage grease. That it was renderings from the bacon and sausage. And you see about how much that is right there in that teaspoon. I'm gonna fling that right down there in the bottom. And that's not going to be enough, but I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you something. By now it's already 10 minutes past 9 in the evening, and so going by that long hand over there, going over towards the tube from the center of that clock, it's at an angle like this right here. I've showed you this before, so I'm just going to go ahead and line. I'm going to line that my burner heat up with that 2 and 0. Actually, it's 2 and like almost 8 on my dial right here. That's the temperature it is. So I'm gonna melt that down, and we're gonna throw some flour in. Let's just go ahead and put some more in there. I like to get down there and get them settlings out of the bottom down there. That's a good part, you know. I mean, I save them up just for such a purpose as this. But and if we need more, we'll put it in there. Almost a half a stick of butter right there in that. And let's get that going. By coincidence, the second hand was down there. It was 1 second past the 6, the bottom of the clock. It was 1 second over. And that's where that I just by random turned that dial right there on that right there. Coincidence? You know, I think so. See that sizzle right there in that butter? I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And, you know, a warning that I'd throw in here right now is don't taste them little things. If you do, they're so good you won't ever end up with this many. But I'm going to dump them. That's about, I think that's about, what was that? 6 of them oranges. Keeping in mind orange gravy served on toast. While that's kind of simmering, I'm going to turn that down a lot. Way down there. Just on a little bit. I'm going to put some of that honey in there just in a minute. We're going to let that simmer in that butter right there. That's going to be good. Them little peaches. And over here we got that. It's about that much. It curled up like that on that teaspoon of that. Most of it's bacon grease. So what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you something, I'll visualize this to you. When that oil, that grease right here is hot enough to where that it has a little ripple on it, a little heat shimmer, it's there. And this right here is self-rising flour, and that's just a little bit I had in the bottom of that bag. I'll show you about how much it is. See about how much that is in my hand, and just fluff it around in there, and that's the same amount again. Oh, that's going to be some good gravy. See, that's all I had. Just use what you got. That's just a good motto to go by. And if you remember, I have been leaning towards that cornmeal gravy. So I think right here will be a perfect use for that. I'm gonna put a big old handful of that cornmeal mix right on top of there. Oh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be a lot of gravy right there, If you was writing something down, I'd say, half and half on that flour and gravy. And if I didn't have no self-rising, I'd use that other stuff. I'm going to turn that back up there to match up what we started with, because I think somehow I got that turned down a little bit. But I'd like that to be a little bit hotter right there. It don't have to be. I see some simmer, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some milk in there. Let's just pour it off in there. And I'm going to tell you about making gravy. Write this over on the wall. You know what I mean? See about how much milk I done poured off over in that skillet right there. Man, that's a lot of milk right there. But we had a lot of flour in there, so it'll cover it. And I think we're going to need it. Keep it in mind that this skillet here, this cast iron pot, has got a crack in it. You know what I mean? I would think that if you had it, you wouldn't use it. You know what I mean? I would think that if you had a skillet that had a crack in it, you'd say, oh, I can't use that. But I'm showing you right here, it works just perfectly well, So far, and this one right here, it don't crack no further, I don't hope so. Yeah, we'll let that get up to a little simmer right there. But we got them peaches right over there. Boy, it's going to be good. See, they're wilting real good right there. I'm gonna kind of, I'm gonna let them simmer on some more, because when something is cooking like that right there, it's just well enough to leave it alone. You know what I mean, on its own, because it's doing a real good job. So, you know what I mean? I mean, to rush it along here, it is perfectly permissible if you're going to be a stirring. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that up a little bit more, not up to medium, not hardly. And then right over there, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right here, I've been leaning towards that cinnamon here lately. I mean, I've used it in just about everything. So what I think I do is this right here is that Aldi's. This is that Aldi cinnamon. I think it's 2.45 ounces, and you can buy it online. But I'm gonna dust a little of that cinnamon on there, and you're gonna say, well, how much did he put on there? Well, I only put enough cinnamon on there to where that how I have been here. That's how much I used, just enough so you'd know I was there. I'm gonna listen to that set there like that. That's so pretty. And actually, I'm gonna give it a little more heat. I shouldn't, because the gravy is, and I was getting a little action over here on the top of this gravy, I'll leave it be still again, and we'll see it. See that activity on this skillet right here? See there? See that bubble? That means that this skillet here, at the temperature I got it, is right on the verge of boiling. So, and I'm okay. At some point I will have I like a vigorous boil. You know, I like it to really cook. And we'll cook half of this away. We got to slice that bread and get that toast in that oven right there. So I'm just going to let this go ahead on its own for a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. A little heat rising from that skillet right there. And the wonderful taste, if I could describe that to you. A dusting, light dust of cinnamon in that melted butter. Can you imagine what that smells like? Now we'll let that simmer for a little bit while we get onto that bread. And right here, your artistic skills can come into play right here. Cut your bread on a slant if you have desire. I think that's about enough. You know, that's a little more than half that there loaf. You know what I mean? I was getting close to that there skillet too. But we'll put that on that tray there and toast it. Yeah, almost anybody can toast bread, so I don't anticipate anyone will have any failure in the bread toasting department, even though I have burned it to the point where you couldn't even get it out the back door. It was on fire. I'm just saying, once you put that bread in that oven right there, be caution. And we got that in there, we got that light on. Now I'm going to show you something else. Y'all see that gravy right there? Oh, that's going to be good. That's been simmering like that a while because I was over there slicing that bread, you know, not paying attention. But I mean, that's right there's what you want, you know what I mean. It don't matter who's making gravy. When it's like that right there, you know, you can see that's pretty darn good. It's a little bit too much, so I'm getting some splatter, so I'm going to turn her down. But see, when you got a pot cooking like that right there, you can pretty much say you cooked that flour. You know what I mean? That's pretty much cooked right there. But the only thing, I tell you what, the only thing between a biscuit and a spoonful of gravy is, you know, one of them was baked, you know, and one of them was cooked, you know. I mean, if you baked gravy, it would be a biscuit, and if you put biscuit in here with a little extra liquid, it'd be gravy. I'm just saying that was an early observance of mine. Okay, see, I'm liking this texture right here, and we got that bread in the oven. So what I'm going to do, y'all watch this right here. Use one on their own, you know what I mean? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to rake almost all of them off over in that there. You see about how many I kept right there? Maybe it was going to be for ornamental purposes. You know, half a cup or something. About good. Oh, I got that there. I got that metal spoon out there so I could bring them scrapings up off that bottom down there, you know. Right now is where you don't want to go wrong with no scalding of the bottom. I'm going to turn that down, way down yonder, and get on with that bread. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's going to be good. When you're making gravy, right here's what it's supposed to look like. This right here is ready to eat. Watch this. See, it stays on your spoon. It's not too thin. It's not all that thick either. Boy, it's going to be good. See how it lays up on that wooden paddle there? Oh, that's going to be good. Serve that up. I think we'll serve it rustic style, out of the skillet. When you look up gravy in the dictionary, right there will be that gravy right there. Got a little cornmeal in that gravy. You may be downtown there, Del Monte's, or you may be up Trump Tower somewhere, you know what I mean, and you're at this setting. I mean, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? If you see myself, I prefer, if I'm preparing my own setting, I prefer for my bread to be broken up. Some patrons, some guests would prefer knife and fork, so you would serve it whole as that. And I do have here on the serving tray, if you was to choose that and you was a little prim and proper and you didn't want to be breaking up your own bread there at your plate, then you can get these right here. It was already, I'll serve them for you, already broken up right there. You know what I mean? You can lay in ever how many you wanted. Just saying. The gravy, just serve that up right there. You know, that's one of them things right there, you know, you ain't gonna have no success at. To try to get that gravy from that gravy skillet there to this plate over right here without bombarding something along the way right there is dang near impossible. I can tell you that from a fact. Put a little gravy right there. I like to let a little bread there stick out. And you would serve these, if you was a sitting, would be, presentation would be like that. And I'll serve this one up, and we'll see the flavoring. Oh, that smells good. Did I mention that smells delicious? You know what I mean? That makes it look so pretty. And we got this right here. You wasn't expecting this right here now. That's them, that's them asparagus. And that right there, you know, that ain't the full plant right there. All that is them stems and pieces, you know. Somebody else got the top part. I'm just saying. You know, my way of looking at that is it's an asparagus spear from top to bottom. You know, I'm okay with bottoms. The resistance detente in this is, y'all watch this. It's that honey right there Mike sent me. Y'all watch this right here. I had over a woman on the stove. Just get you some of that honey and put right in the middle of them there. Put you some of that honey right in there. You know it's got good right then, don't you? Oh, it's going to be good. I'm just going to lay that right over there for the time being and get on with this right here. And I got these new chopsticks right here, and I really do like them. Did I mention a 50-cent loaf of bread, a store brand stem, roots and stems, I think what it was on them asparaguses, and that there flour over there, you know, just some bacon grease, you know, throw it in there. Milk to drink. See what this is going to taste like. You know what, if I'm taking a little long to get to the ending of this video, it's well worth it. Some of the videos I do, maybe if I may wax seriously for a second, some of the videos I do, you may construe to be on the, you know, not up, well, you know, but Beg your pardon. Of all the recipes I have posted on this YouTube right here, this one right here I would recommend in the top 3. In the top 3 of all of my videos. Just follow what I did there, you know what I mean? I ain't wrote much down, but just follow along, throw you a handful of this in there and a handful of that in there, and I guarantee this is good. And as Julia Child would say it, bon appetit. I think that means good food or something, you know. Did I mention it was orange gravy on toast?